Hi, everyone. I want to give an update on something that I've been working on for at least the last 2 years, and that is the consultant companies that people have been joining, OPT holders mostly, and companies. We're talking about companies like Andwill, companies like Integra, Wireclass, AZ Tech, and there's a new one that I've heard of now, Global IT Experts. Basically, one thing that I have found that is common in all of these companies is that they target mostly OPT students. They do not offer paid employment, and they often have a very kind of smallish fee that they charge for things like training. They provide an offer letter with, a job profile that does not really match anything that the clients ever work on. The clients never actually get to work on a project. And so, it's sort of like a sham company that provides these offer letters with no actual substance. Okay. And just for those of you who have been involved, I think many of you have been following these companies and the action that the government has taken on these companies for a while now. But many of you may not be aware, and one of the reasons I want to make this video is basically to give those of you who are not aware a list of red flags, like what to look for and what to avoid, because you might be in an F1 situation where, you might have to take up employment with a consultant firm, right? But what is the difference between a real consultancy versus one that's one of these sham consultancies that is going to land you in trouble sooner or later, right? So what you have to understand and do research on is that E-Verify is really not enough. Most of these companies that we're talking about, they were actually E-Verified. The second thing is there is a nominal-ish, like we're talking $200 to $500 sometimes dollar payment that they claim is for training. The actual story is that payment is really the whole goal of this company's existence. They just want to make money off of, people, visa holders who are desperate to find some kind of position to meet their visa requirements. Okay. Now, the second reason for me making this live today is because I've been working with a lot of F1 students, OPT students, H-1B holders, people who have been traveling in and out of the country, who are looking for stamping, who have at some point been involved with one of these companies, and now they're facing, some negative consequences of that. And I've been doing this for at least about the last 2 years. I've been talking to a lot of people, doing consultations and learning a little bit more about the situation. I want to give you an update on how this situation seems to have been evolved over the period. So first of all, we are learning that there are some new consultancies and new names that have been flagged and that are cropping up. The second thing is you have to understand that these names are not, they're not different. They're not different in the way they behave. It's just a new company, but the behavior, the pattern, everything else seems very similar. And what we've also learned is that USCIS, Department of State, and the Port of Entry have been kind of a little bit changing in the way that they're handling these cases. So I want to talk to you about what we've seen as far as the evolution. Some of you have watched previous videos that I have made on this topic and, taken some tips from it. And if you haven't, it's on my YouTube, it's on my Facebook page. Go and watch it. It's very helpful. This is the update to that. Okay. So What we have seen is that basically these companies are being treated slightly differently now by the Department of State and USCIS. First of all, we have seen a lot of clients get denied, but we have also seen a lot of clients get approved. I have seen employers dealing with this in various ways. Some employers, very famously Amazon, just seems to be firing everyone who has been involved with these companies in the past. And if they ever get an RFE, notice of intent to deny, NOID, or if they have issues at the port of entry, or if they have issues at the consulate, Amazon's just laying people off, okay? Second thing is we have seen some employers work with the employee and try to resolve this issue. And when there is that effort to try and resolve this issue, we have seen some positive results also coming from that. So it is possible. I don't want anyone listening to this and say, you know what, just because I've been involved in this with this company, it means I automatically have to give up. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of nuance to it, and this issue has been thankfully treated with a little bit more nuance in the more recent times. What we are seeing is that USCIS is approving a few of these cases, especially when there's an RFE for a change of status or extension of status or change of employer. We do see some of these cases being approved if you can provide pretty convincing evidence of communication that you've had with, members of that company, where you, in that communication, are clearly trying to fulfill your obligations as an OPT student. Like you're trying to look for trainings, you're trying to look for projects, you're asking them questions. And it should be clear from that communication that you believe this to be a real opportunity. Your actions and your communications and what proof you have could make a very big difference in terms of your chances of approval for these. Now, if you don't have solid proof, nevertheless, that doesn't mean that it's, a sign that you should just give up, because a lot of people, even without much proof, are being, when we help them tell their story in a way that clarifies the fact that they have not committed fraud on their own, that their intention was not to commit fraud. If that has been clarified, then we are seeing that a lot of the students involved in this, they're being denied but not being accused of misrepresentation. They're being denied and asked to basically, appear at the consulate. Now, I have worked with a lot of people who have gone through the consular interviews. And I want to say the vast majority, but actually I cannot even think of one person who has been denied after we've worked with them. So consular interviews, we are able to be more successful. And the reason is because in the consulate, it's not maintenance of status that's being examined. What is being examined is misrepresentation. And as long as you can clear that your intention was never to misrepresent the government, was never to misrepresent companies, or, that you did not partake in this activity knowing that this company is fraudulent, then we are usually seeing that, consular interviews are successful. A lot of people have also come to me who are trying to switch from this employment-based petition to a family-based petition. So these are people who have been either on an F1 OPT, F1 status, or on an H1 status, but they're getting married to, say, for example, U.S. citizen. Or they have another family-based petition that they're trying to adjust from. And a lot of people are asking me, does this issue come up when it's not an employment-based situation? And the answer is 100% yes, okay? So we are seeing anything connected with one of these companies. It is coming up also when you're doing the family-based petition. It is not limited only to your employment-based cases. Why? Because the issue one of the main issues is the issue of misrepresentation or fraud. And fraud and misrepresentation, they are not limited to employment-based. They regardless if you're going family-based, if you're doing employment-based, if you're doing even something, out of the way like U visa, doesn't matter. Fraud follows you. Okay, and that's how the laws are written. So you have to address this issue. You can't just say, okay, well, I'm getting married to a citizen, I don't have to worry about that. That's not true. The other thing you have to realize is that this issue is a very sticky issue. If you say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to give up, I'm going to go to Canada, I'm going to do something else. Well, keep in mind that in the future, even if it's 10, 15 years from now, if you ever want to come to the US, you're going to have to face this issue. So it's not limited to for now. It's going to be there for good, because they are calling this potentially an issue connected with fraud or misrepresentation, which follows you, okay? So it is definitely something to take into account. And, sometimes, many times, it is better to deal with it rather than to just kind of let it fester and let it wait. Because it's not going to go away by waiting, okay? If you have questions about how these issues or your connection with these companies can affect your applications in the future, or, if you're, facing an application issue right now where you're facing an RFE, annoyed, you're trying to travel, you're wanting to come back to the US after a travel, give us a call because, like I said, this is far more nuanced than a lot of people realize initially. I think more people are realizing it now because we are seeing more and more people being approved, and you're seeing kind of a variation in results. But yeah, a lot of people, I think, earlier did not realize just how nuanced this issue really was going to be treated. The other thing we have found is that certain airports are being very harsh on people who are entering with one of these issues. Most recently, I've gotten into kind of a issue, it's a fight, legal fight with LAX, and that's the Los Angeles airport. So I would suggest avoiding LAX if you're trying to enter, even if you have a visa, if you've been connected with one of these companies. So that is my update on what I've seen so far. I've worked with a lot of people on this issue now. I continue to work with a lot of people on this issue now. And my personal belief, my feeling is that not enough of us in the legal world are doing enough for you. So it is something that I'm committed to. I want to help people who have been stuck with this because I believe the vast majority of the people who have been involved with these companies are not people who have committed fraud. These are people who have unknowingly been trapped with one of these companies. And I know many of you have told me stories about how you got involved and how you got convinced that this was a legitimate company. And, I'm shocked. I'm saddened by how little the immigration law, the legal community knows about this issue and how few of us are talking about it. I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep, communicating with those of you who are affected. And, I hope to help as many of you as I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And if you need help with this or any other issue connected with immigration law, U.S. immigration law, give us a call. Our phone number is 312-854-7065. I'm located in Chicago. I work with clients all over the country and abroad. And, I'm happy to talk to you guys. We have WhatsApp. You can connect us with WhatsApp. Our phone number on WhatsApp is also +1, then 312-854-7065. You can email us. You can call us. Again, these are the best ways to get in touch with us. My law firm is called SwagatUSA, and I'm located in Chicago. I'm happy to talk to people from anywhere in the world, as long as you have an issue connected with U.S. immigration law. And I wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I can't wait to help more of you, fulfill your dreams of your U.S. immigration. And I, look forward to winning more of these cases, really, because this issue has really hit a lot of people very hard. Thank you so much, and best wishes to everyone.